Welcome back. This is video number 6. This is the blueprint video number 2, which is about educate. So now that your prospects see that there is, in fact, hope, it's time to educate them. Now, what do I mean by that? No, it's not time to sell them yet. Think of this kind of like a webinar, except that it's not live. So you're going to give them really good information so that they walk away wanting more. Your goal is to merely shed light that there is hope and then continue to break their walls and objections. Now, all prospects have a reason why they feel that there is no solution. And we don't necessarily know that, but that's something that you will need to figure out and maybe talk to your prospects, sit down with several of them to figure out exactly the different scenarios. Now, it is, of course, your goal to figure out what those objections are. So like I said, sit down with them and try to jot down what their common questions are and what are the common objections that they have. Another good way to do this is to talk to your customers, those who may have already purchased your product. If that is not the case, you can't really do that. But if that is the case, then you can sit down with them and say, what were your objections before you bought my product or service? And then once you bought my product and service, how did those objections change? So you should already know this, but if you don't, one secret that I can tell you and one shortcut is to take a look at your customer support help desk. Look carefully into the people who complain the most. Now, what I mean by complain is constructive criticism, not the people that just whine and complain and scream and pout, but rather the people that have valid constructive criticism. Think of those people. Oftentimes, these people are asking the very same questions that other people are asking too. Maybe oftentimes 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 are very vocal and they're giving valid constructive criticism. But the other 999 people, or how many other people, are not voicing them out loud. They're just thinking of it and they're leaving. So what you want to do in the beginning, of course, to make sure that it flows correctly, is to connect the previous video by kind of giving a recap of what you talked about in video number 1, which is the motivational video. You got to remember that people will forget what you taught earlier. So you want to briefly discuss what you'll be talking about in this video. And then after that, you want to give another recap of the opportunity or the benefit that you promised in the prior video. And then you want to give a recap of the story that you told. You want to keep this short, of course, so that they are going to remember the hope that you promised them. Now, there's still going to be a little bit of skepticism in there. So you want to make sure that you back up this hope with proof. So you can do that in several ways. You can demonstrate your results in an educational format, not a salesy way, via a case study. You can also demonstrate your results in an educational format via your client's testimonials, or if your client was able to sit down with you and be part of a case study, you can provide that in an educational format. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, that you're showcasing your client's case study. So in a non-salesy way, you can show what happened before. Maybe the client had objections, they lost hope, but then they tried your product and then this is what happened. So you definitely want to do that in a non-salesy way. And I know I keep repeating that, but the more you are more educational, you give them information that they can walk away thinking, wow, this was a really good video. I want more. Then you want to teach them something new that will conquer another common objection. So as I talked about in video 1, which was the previous video of the Blueprint series, I talked about you need to figure out the objections and create a list of them, because what you're trying to do here is sprinkle them throughout the 4 videos. So in this case, you could teach them several things, several objections, and then how you can conquer those. The next thing you can do is teach them what they need to do. The what's, the whys, but not the hows. So you got to remember the what's and the whys are what do you need to do? Why do you need to do it? But the hows are going to be left with your product and service. So you could give a few, but you don't want to give everything. Otherwise, there's no point in buying the product and service. So give them the what's, the whys, not the hows, on how to overcome another objection. So as you can see, there's a pattern here. Find the objections and you'll pretty much get a good script going. And then of course, in between, give some aha moments and golden nuggets of value. And of course, last but not least, you want to make sure that you connect this to video number 3, which by giving a preview of what is coming up next, which is the system or the solution or the kind of secret sauce of what makes your product and service different, what is something that you discovered, and you'll be sharing that in video number 3.